it's the first of the month on a Sunday. This means that in 13 days, if you're superstitious, you might stay inside the house and avoid living at all costs. This will happen at least once to you in a calendar year and up to 3 times. The day is Friday the 13th. The number 13 has long been thought to be unlucky in Western culture. So much so that most tall buildings or hotels will not have a 13th floor or a 13th room. Most airlines also omit numbering the 13th row in airplanes. Instead, they will skip from 12 to 14. The church has had a big hand in many people's current superstitions on the number 13, and especially Friday the 13th. In the early morning hours of Friday, October 13th, 1307, was the beginning of the end for the Knights Templar. On Maundy Thursday, the night before Jesus' crucifixion, Jesus had his Last Supper, which contained 13 guests. The 13th guest to take his seat was Judas Iscariot, the disciple who would betray Jesus, leading to Jesus' arrest, trial, and execution. Also in Christianity, Friday is the day that Eve gave Adam the apple from the tree of knowledge. Friday is also the day that Cain killed his brother Abel. Friday the 13th is said to also have a few origins within Norse mythology. In Norse mythology, 12 gods were at a dinner party in Valhalla when Loki, the trickster, showed up uninvited. Loki, joining a party of 12, would make him the 13th guest. Loki persuaded Odin's blind son, Hur, to shoot another one of Odin's sons, Balder, with a mistletoe-tipped arrow. Balder died after being shot by the arrow. Following this event, it was said that the number 13 was unlucky. Some believe that there is truth in an old wives' tale, that a coven of witches met under a full moon and Freya came down from the mountains to join the coven, making her the 13th in attendance. It is said that since then, traditional covens gather in 13. The ancient code of Hammurabi eerily omitted a 13th law from its list of legal rules. In numerology, the number 13 is the number of beginnings and endings, also of birth and death. In Britain, Friday was known as Hangman's Day because it was the day that those who were sentenced to death would be hanged at the gallows. There are other sinister and unfortunate events that have fallen on Friday the 13th as well. On September Friday the 13th, in 1940, Germany cruelly bombed Buckingham Palace in England. Kitty Genovese was brutally stabbed to death outside her apartment in New York City on Friday the 13th in March 1964. On Friday the 13th in November 1970, there was a vicious cyclone in Bangladesh that took the lives of over 300,000 people. In October 1972, on Friday the 13th, a Chilean Air Force plane carrying a rugby team disappeared in the Andes, not to be discovered for over 2 months. Of the 58 people who boarded the plane, only 16 survived, and they survived by consuming the flesh of those who had passed away. On a Friday the 13th in January of 2012, there was a cruise ship that hit a rock formation on the ocean floor and crashed off the coast of Italy, killing 30 people. Director Alfred Hitchcock, known best for his suspense and thriller films, was born on the 13th, and had he lived, he would have turned 100 on Friday the 13th. Hitchcock made his directorial debut with a film called Number 13. Coincidentally, or not, the film was, quote, doomed from the start, and wasn't successful due to financial troubles. There is fear surrounding Friday the 13th, but there are also people who lean into the spookiness and call the bluff of bad luck. In the late 19th century, a man named Captain William Fowler wanted to get rid of the stigma surrounding the number 13. To do so, he founded an exclusive society called the 13 Club. The group had their first dinner on Friday the 13th in January. Dinner on the 13th of the month in the 13th room at the Knickerbocker Cottage. Members would walk beneath a ladder and a banner reading, Morituri te salutamus, Latin for those of us who are about to die salute you, as they made their way to their 13-course dinner. Would you attend, dear listener? Thanks for listening, and fuck yeah, folklore.
Fuck yeah, folklore.